Anyway, let's turn our sights back to good old Blighty, which we can otherwise call incel country, because we're gonna take a brief tour through the history of the COVID lockdowns, I suppose, which have been going on for a year now. Welcome to the anniversary. What's the actual date of the anniversary? It was yesterday, right?
Think about it.
Yeah, so yesterday, it had been 1 year since the first lockdown, and we are still in a lockdown because Boris refuses to take the win. Boris has won. He has conquered the coronavirus. Things seem to have gone very well. But anyway, yeah, as I said, sex is currently banned in Britain between people who don't live in the same household, which is literally turning every single person in the country into an incel. Literally an entire country of incels by government fiat. You can't even get married. You don't have to have sex with someone you don't already live with.
We did a podcast that I don't know when I'm ever going to get finished editing about a government report warning about the rise of extremism. There's one of the lines in this report in which they're saying we are worried about the growing rise in the threat of incel extremism.
Maybe you shouldn't make everyone an incel then.
Maybe they knew they were going to do this.
Yeah, but alcohol was banned pre-lockdown in Scotland, and then
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, and then it was banned in Wales as well.
Oh, Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's genuinely like we're in some sort of COVID show. Now, this obviously took place before the new lockdown.
Like, Ajim Chowdhury got released from prison not too long ago.
I bet he's like,
well, it worked.
Yeah, Allah has done everything I asked for. The next thing he could do now is ban Christmas. Oh, wait, Boris did that too. So we came into the lockdown at Christmas, or just before Christmas, Boris banning Christmas. It was November, that we came into the lockdown, which meant that Christmas was banned and we had to deal with it. And it turns out that we're in the harshest lockdown in the West. Right, so a global ranking of government stringency in response to the coronavirus, compiled by the University of Oxford's Blavatnik, I can't pronounce that, School of Government, makes the United Kingdom out as the strictest lockdown nation in the Western world, scoring 86 out of a possible 100, with only Eritrea, Venezuela and Lebanon scoring higher globally. This puts us above the Republic of Ireland on 85, Germany on 83, Italy at 82, and Spain at 71. The United States is way down the rankings at 68, because there are people like DeSantis in Florida who are like, screw your tyranny, let people live. Oh God, I wish we could have someone like that. But anyway, so we went through the Christmas period with no Christmas. We weren't allowed to go anywhere or do anything. And Boris in February said, well, look, I'm optimistic about a summer holiday because the vaccine had been developed and we just started vaccinating people. And so Boris is optimistic about it. Didn't give any concrete answers because he didn't know. He set out more details later on in the month, which weren't very useful. But he said, I don't want to give too much concrete information by the way of the dates for our summer holidays. I'm optimistic. The vaccine program has got to be successful, blah, blah, blah. And Matt Hancock was like, yeah, well, I hope we're going to have a happy, free, great British summer. It's like, well, you're the only thing preventing it at this point, Matt. So, like, fingers crossed. I hope we can do
this. Yeah, Matt, if only someone could make it so.
Yeah.
Matt.
If only there was someone who was enforcing the lockdowns we could appeal to. Don't know who that might be. But anyway, so on the 10th of February, like 2 weeks later-ish, we were told by Grant Shapps, the Transport Secretary, that people shouldn't go booking their holidays right now, not domestically or internationally, because it's too soon to give people the green light. And back in February, it may well have been. Weird that Matt Hancock had booked a Cornish holiday, though. He just came out and was like, yeah, so I booked my holiday to Cornwall. And it's like, Matt, that's the total opposite of the government advice.
This was also a total C-up, in which I believe like the entire cabinet had been told to say they're not booking any holidays.
Yes.
And then Matt Hancock just blurted this out.
Yes.
After they'd asked 3 members of the cabinet who all said, we're not booking one.
Yes. Yeah. Idiots. But anyway, he obviously looked like a prat, because when doesn't he? But anyway, he told Sky News, though, it was still too soon to give fellow Brits any certainty over whether they should book their own holidays either at home or abroad. So this very much came across like one rule for us, one rule for you. And it's like, well done, Matt. Idiot. Anyway, fast forward to a few days ago, March 19th, and we have the government's latest travel list ban countries. So these are countries which the UK government will ban you from entering the UK if you are travelling from.
And if you lie, what is it? With
Well,
a massive fine and up to 10 years in prison.
yes, something along those lines. If you've been to any of these countries in the previous 10 days, you'll be refused entry to the UK. And if you're a British or Irish national and you have residence rights, you will be able to enter, but you must quarantine in a government-approved hotel for 10 days. That's Angola, Argentina based, Bolivia, Botswana, Brazil, Burundi, Cape Verde, Chile, Colombia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ecuador, Eswatini, never even heard of that, Ethiopia, French Guyana, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Oman, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Qatar, Rwanda, Seychelles, Somalia, South Africa, Suriname, Tanzania, the United Arab Emirates, Uruguay, Venezuela, Zambia, and Zimbabwe.
10 years in jail if you lie.
It's a lot. And then, of course, we were told that if you go on holiday, you're going to be fined.
Yeah, so as if you go to any other place apart from these places, you'll be fined £5,000.
Yes.
So what's irritating about that is it's not a criminal offence or jail time, because that's the thing where it's like,
Just
okay,
a fine.
so this isn't a fine, this is a premium.
Yes.
This is the premium to go abroad.
If you can afford to pay $5,000 to the government and then go on your holiday, then
Holidays
you
are
can,
now legal to you,
yeah, you can actually still go on a holiday.
but everyone else is screwed.
Yeah, sorry, poor people. I guess you'll have to go to Cornwall with Matt Hancock.
And to be honest, I almost...
Oh, wait, you're not allowed to do that either.
I almost certainly expect that this is actually them knowing that probably members of the cabinet or their family members or their friends are going to cock up who are all rich. And they're just like, well, we'll just make it a fine then. They can pay that.
Yeah, let's make it a bigger fine. What about $500,000?
Why not?
I mean, why not? I guess that might actually cut into their incomes. But yeah, so anyway, as this is part of the coronavirus laws that are due to be introduced next week, because previous ones are expiring. British citizens who travel abroad for reasons other than work, volunteering, education, medical needs, or to attend weddings or funerals will be fined $5,000. So they're part of the statutory instrument that's being introduced in the most recent iteration of lockdown legislation. Under the stay-at-home laws, which were introduced February last year, foreign holidays are not permitted. And as of Monday, stay-at-home laws will no longer apply, and the ban on holidays will become a specific law punishable by a $5,000 fine. So it's just going to be its own standalone law.
This is what I don't get as well, because the argument is, well, the red zones have their unique variants, which are, of massive concern. Fair enough, whatever. But the idea that you have to ban all travel and whatnot because there's a third wave coming from Europe, they're hitting a third world. And it's just like, well, okay, we're an island. Just stop the travel then. And then we can unlock our country, and we can all be free at least.
I mean, we're all vaccinated.
50%.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, right? So the renewal of the Coronavirus Act is actually getting some of the Conservative backbenchers up in arms, understandably, actually. And why hasn't this happened sooner, just out of interest? Apparently, the vaccination rates that Britain has achieved gives ample justification to end the lockdown before the 21st of June. That's right. I mean, as if the moral justification against lockdowns wasn't enough, I guess we need this one too. As the anti-lockdown coronavirus recovery group of Tory MPs, the chairman, Mark Harper, has stated, sticking rigidly to a set of dates based on now outdated and overly pessimistic modelling would be a mistake. Yes, it would. Yes, it would be a mistake. But anyway, Matt Hancock isn't ruling out banning travel to the European Union. This is what you wanted. Callum, Matt Hancock's going to give you it.
If he would then give it on the silver platter of like, UK will be opened up, we will be free, and in return, no travel outside of the island. Like, we will take cargo to feed our nation, that's it. To be honest, I take that trade. It's like the continent's full of plague, we'll cut them off.
Full of a plague that less than 1% of people die from.
I know. I'm taking it
with the average age of death being 82 years old.
I'm taking it from the standpoint of the government.
I know, but I just hate it. But anyway, so apparently it's definitely a possibility that all of Europe could end up on a travel ban red list. And obviously, why not? I mean, this is clearly not political at this point, not about Brexit at all. And you may remember that when the new strain in December was originated from the southeast of England, 40 different countries put the UK on a travel ban. So it just seems, honestly, it's starting to look just like political posturing. So you can put a ban on us, are you? Well, here's a ban on you. What now? What about the vaccines, eh? Because there's a third wave coming from Europe. Boris has reassured European leaders, if you go to the next one, John, that they don't want to see blockades on the export of COVID vaccines. This is a nice, politicizing the vaccine has been an amazing thing to watch. This comes over a dispute on the possible block of exports of coronavirus jabs to the UK, because of course everyone was like, "Oh God, this is going to cause blood clots." It's like, well, that'll get you deplatformed from YouTube. Why are you saying that? That's not true, because there isn't actually any evidence for it. Because it turns out that something like 3,000 people a month get blood clots. So all of the data that we have, and I don't know either way, but the data we have is that there's absolutely no evidence for this whatsoever. It seems to have been a moral panic that spread across the continent. And there was something like 20 countries and a dozen nations, most of them in Europe, temporarily halted the vaccine use. This was earlier this month.
Most of them who couldn't get the vaccine from the UK and instead were importing the Russian one.
Yeah.
Suspiciously decided, we didn't want the UK one anyway.
Yes. And actually the UK one causes blood clots, and it just didn't seem to be the case. I mean, like the control groups that were given placebos to measure this found absolutely zero distinction between them and the ones who took the vaccine. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can agree that there could be concerns about a vaccine that's been rushed through. Absolutely, there could be. But the data doesn't support this. So, don't know what to tell you. But, I mean, as John points out, the control group actually did have a higher rate of blood clots than the test group for the vaccine. But like I've already said, apparently there were 3,000 blood clots a month in Britain anyway. So it's like, this is not a new or rare phenomenon. It's not unusual for people to get blood clots. This happens. This is just something that happens in life. But obviously, the AstraZeneca are like, well, there's no connection. What are you talking about? And the drug regulator, Europe's drug regulator, the European Medicines Agency, has said there's no indication that the shot was causing blood clots. And I believe the vaccine's benefits continue to outweigh the risks. And so the World Health Organization said exactly the same thing, and that in fact we should continue using it because it seems to actually be having an effect. And so the European Union completely reversed its position on the 20th of March. We can go to the next one, John. Threatening to ban the export of the vaccine if they weren't supplied with it first. It's like, what? That poisonous vaccine is giving you blood clots?
We're not going to send you poison.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're not going to... If you don't send us the poison, we're going to ban it from being exported from Europe.
We want the poison.
Yeah. But that's literally what they're saying. But it shows that the allegations about blood clots and things like that, I think it was more political than it was anything else.
In which case, if it was true, why do they want them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple.
Exactly. But Ursula von der Leyen said, we have the possibility to forbid planned exports. That's the message to AstraZeneca. Fulfill your contract with Europe before you start delivering to other countries. Because Boris had essentially snaked the European Union here, which was actually good job, to be honest.
Well, no, it's just because the European Union shit.
Yeah.
Sorry to swear, but he gave the order to buy more vaccines literally like months before. And then they're upset that their process takes longer. It's like,
because
you're terrible.
But that's a good decision on Boris's part. It's like, here's a bunch of cash, give us loads of vaccines, and the European Union is dithering because it's a giant, slow bureaucracy.
It's almost like there's a problem with the European Union.
It's almost like this was exactly what we were saying. Oh, if Britain becomes an independent country, we can move more
discriminating
nimbly
against us because we suck.
yes, that's the reason for our discrimination against you. You suck. But yeah, so she furious that... saying, I cannot justify to European citizens why we export millions of vaccine doses to countries that produce vaccines themselves and from whom nothing comes back. Well, Ursula, the reason is rule of law, actually. You know that law-based international order you were asking for? Well, it turns out that if Britain signs a contract with AstraZeneca, then AstraZeneca, under EU law, is obligated to fulfill that contract because money has changed hands. It's just weird how that works.
I'm not speaking to a German.
Well, this is why the Germans should be particularly like, oh, actually, no, I can see exactly why that contract's being fulfilled because the law demands it, and it's like, oh, we didn't sign a contract. No, you were 2 weeks ago, you were saying that these are lethal vaccines, Ursula. Sorry, you did this to yourselves. This is exactly why Brexit was a good thing, exactly why the European Union is a bad thing, and now it's run by people who can't admit that they made a mistake. Anyway, Britain's doing really well when it comes to vaccinations. Now, according to latest government data, 28 million people have received their first dose, with 2.5 million receiving their second. There hasn't been an epidemic of blood clots here, or if it has, it's being very well suppressed from the media. So it seems...
State.
Sorry?
From the state.
Well,
the
anyway.
NHS data alone.
Well, yeah, I guess, but the NHS is doing a good job of keeping this secret from the media. But yeah, and honestly,
it seems a percentage.
Well, that's nearly half of all people in the UK.
Yeah, because that's the thing as well. The deaths from COVID, what is it, like 65% or something ridiculous is from 65 over. And then,
Yeah.
it's an exponential decline.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got half the country vaccinated and you're going age group by age group,
Yeah.
that means you've got, maybe 80, 90% of all the people likely to die are all vaccinated now?
And they actually rolled it out in a sensible way, starting with the elderly and the people on the front lines. So it's actually like, okay, well done.
Yeah, but that was my point. If
Yeah.
this was about deaths, if 90% of the people who could die are now vaccinated,
they're vaccinating people in their 50s now.
what's this about now?
I mean, I'm probably going to get, in a week or two's time, I'll get an offer to get a vaccine myself. I mean, I'm not going to get bothered because I'm not in the danger zone for it, but like...
But like, I'm trying to get to the point of the
point is,
control
the
here.
people who are at risk have been vaccinated. And, I mean, if we just go to the next one, which is the UK's current summary, if we scroll down a bit, you can see the graphs. And it's like, okay, the vaccine seems to have worked.
Take the W.
Yes, it seems to be a reasonable inference that the number of cases have... I mean, the cases peaked at like 50,000 cases a day. Now it's 5,000 cases a day. And with 100 people a day dying for within 28 days of a positive test, which, I mean, that's high today. Yesterday it was like 65 or whatever. So it's like, okay, you have defeated the coronavirus. The Conservatives have done it. They not only did they defeat the European Union by moving faster than them, they appear to have actually competently rolled out the vaccination program, which shocks me more than anyone else, I'm sure. And we appear to be in a position where actually we won.
In which case, take the win.
Yeah, take the win.
In which case, we can also now defeat the European Union again by opening up sooner
Yes.
and having our economy skyrocket as companies try to find somewhere where they can trade.
Yeah. I mean, like Spain and Portugal have already said, look, we're not going to prevent, and Greece have already said, we're not going to prevent British tourists from coming here because they need their money.
They're gagging for money.
They are gagging for money because, I mean, like a third of Greece's economy is tourism, and like something like 20% of that is
What's
British
left of it?
tourism. Yeah, exactly, right? And so they need as much of us to go over. And the thing is, I love holidaying in the Mediterranean.
I don't been to Greece.
It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely.
I'd love to go and give them my money.
The people there are lovely. The food there is amazing, keto friendly too, which is great. And they eat lots of meat and cheese and olives. It's good. And the obviously you can't put a price on the historical value of the place, and so it's a wonderful place to go, and the weather's great too. A wonderful place to go, and which is why they're like, look, just come. And it's like, we'd love to, but the government won't let us. Sorry, Greece would love to come visit, in Portugal. But then Boris decided to go and put his foot in his mouth over this tremendous victory that he could be trumpeting around by saying actually greed and capitalism were the source of the UK's vaccine success. And it's like, oh, God, why? And now the allegation...
That framing.
It's so bad. It is so
Just takes the left's
bad.
framing and is like, that'll do. I mean, you couldn't say freedom or... independence to make our own decisions.
Liberty,
property,
or whatever it is.
Well, the thing here ultimately was our ability to sign that contract in like that, whereas the European Union couldn't. So it's like, well, the independence of the UK is what helped us there in that respect. But no, it's greed.
Prudent decision making could be. You'd be like, well, it's the prudent decision making of my Conservative government. But no, he instead frames it as greed, like a dunce. But this was a private meeting of Tory MPs, and someone leaked this. So, in his defence...
It's not public, fair enough.
It wasn't a public statement, and it seems that he's making a joke, right? And don't get me wrong, I believe that he probably was making a joke. I could believe that was the joke. Oh, yeah, it was greed that did it, boys. Ha ha. But the point is, you don't say irresponsible things like that if it's likely that the press is going to hear about it. And anything you say about coronavirus is likely the press is going to hear.
They know as well. Every cabinet member, never mind the goddamn PM, any Zoom call you do is public.
Yeah. Just assume they're public, idiots.
Anything you do online is public if you're at that level of government.
Yeah, so like I said, this was apparently absolutely clear it was a joke, a reference to the film Wall Street. Whoever leaked it needs to take a long, hard look at themselves because it was very irresponsible. Yeah, it was. It was very irresponsible. It was such a dumb thing. You had this sewn up. This whole thing was perfectly sewn up that you couldn't fail. You'd literally defeated all of Britain's rivals. You'd done a good job rolling out the vaccine. They're like, yeah, it's because we're greedy. Oh, it's just such an idiot statement, and it's not even like I don't like I said I don't even like. Oh, Boris, you're
no, because if it's a joke, I get it, but
yeah.
you know that's going to be leaked. Come on.
Yeah, you're at the cusp of an amazingly well crafted narrative that is a victorious narrative. You could have taken the win. But yeah, basically, lockdowns are over now, Boris. We don't need lockdowns. You've cured the country. You're the savior. We'll put up a statue of Boris the Corona Conqueror. I'm happy to do that. Just let us out of our fucking houses and let's go on holiday, please.
You ask for so much.
Yeah, I know. Please, Boris. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.